The arena in Las Vegas pulsed with an electric hum, a current of anticipation for the main event. At its center stood Ethan "The Lion" Graves, the reigning UFC light heavyweight champion. He moved toward the octagon with that signature calm swagger, a man utterly at home in the heart of the storm. He'd defended his belt 4 times, a testament to his dominance. Tonight was supposed to be number 5, another notch in his legacy. But fate, as it often does, had written a different script. The fight began as expected. Ethan controlled the pace, his movements a symphony of controlled violence. Then, in the second round, everything changed. Ethan threw a wide left hook, a power shot meant to end the night. But at that exact moment, his opponent shot in for takedown. Ethan's foot slipped on a slick patch of sweat on the canvas. Their bodies collided in a grotesque, unnatural twist. A sickening crack echoed through the arena, a sound so sharp it cut through the roar of the crowd. Ethan didn't get up. The celebration turned to silence, the cheers to whispers of concern. Medics rushed into the cage, their urgency painting a grim picture. Ethan lay still, his face a mask of confusion and pain. He couldn't move his legs. The fans, who just moments ago were cheering for a knockout, now watched in stunned horror. Their champion, the man who seemed invincible, was being carefully loaded onto a stretcher and carried out of the cage, his future vanishing with every step. Hours later, in the sterile quiet of a hospital room, the doctors delivered the verdict, their words clinical and devastating. Your spinal cord is damaged. You will walk again, but fighting, it's over. For a man whose entire identity was forged in combat, those words were a heavier blow than any punch he'd ever taken. They broke him in a way no opponent ever could. And then, silence. Ethan Graves vanished from the public eye. The world of combat sports is relentless. It moves on quickly. There were no interviews, no training footage, no social media updates. There was only the brutal, monotonous reality of rehab, day after day. The champion who once dominated the world's toughest athletes was engaged in a new fight, learning to stand, learning to walk, learning to live with the ghost of the man he once was. The cage, his sanctuary, was now a forbidden territory. His name faded from the headlines, replaced by new contenders and new champions. Fans remembered him as a fallen legend, a tragic what-if story. His belt, once wrapped so securely around his waist, found a new home. The world, it seemed, had forgotten the Lion. 2 years passed. 2 years of silence, of struggle, of a quiet, unseen war. Then, a spark. A rumor started swirling on an obscure online forum. A grainy, leaked video, shot on a cell phone. It showed a man in a dimly lit gym, hitting pads. The movement was familiar. Fast, sharp, explosive. It was him. It was Ethan Graves. The video spread like wildfire, jumping from forums to social media, from fan accounts to major news outlets. The UFC world exploded. Was it real? Was it old footage? Speculation ran rampant until his longtime coach broke the silence, confirming the impossible with a simple statement. Ethan Graves is medically cleared to compete. The reaction was immediate and seismic. Reporters called it madness, a dangerous and delusional pursuit. Fellow fighters, understanding the sheer will required, called it a miracle. The doctors who had worked on him simply called it unexplainable. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a defiance of medical science. The UFC, never one to miss a moment of history, made it official. The announcement sent shockwaves through the sport. Ethan "The Lion" Graves versus the current dominant champion, Diego "The Executioner" Morales. A fight for the light heavyweight title. The night of the fight, the world tuned in. When Ethan's walkout music hit the speakers, the atmosphere was different. It wasn't the usual cheer for a fighter. It was a primal roar, a collective release of 2 years of hope and disbelief. This wasn't just a fight. It was a resurrection. Every person in that arena, every person watching at home, understood they were witnessing a moment that would be talked about for generations. The bell for round 1 rang. Ethan looked hesitant, almost rusty. The speed wasn't quite there. The timing was just a fraction off. The champion, Diego Morales, took full advantage, dominating the round with crisp combinations and relentless pressure. The dream felt like it might be fading. But in round 2, something shifted. Ethan started to find his rhythm. He began to anticipate Diego's attacks, firing back with sharp counterpunches. He landed a hard leg kick, then another. You could feel the tide turning, not just in the octagon, but in the heart of every person watching. The Lion was waking up. Then, in the third round, it happened. a moment frozen in time. Diego threw a quick jab. Ethan, in a movement that was pure instinct, slipped his head off the center line, rotated his hips, and unleashed the very same weapon that had ended his career 2 years prior, a thunderous left hook. This time, there was no slip, no awkward collision. This time, it landed perfectly on the point of the chin. Diego's lights went out before he even hit the canvas. He dropped. The referee waved it off instantly. The world erupted. The sound was deafening, a chaotic explosion of joy and astonishment. Amidst the pandemonium, Ethan Graves, the man who was told he'd never fight again, sank to his knees in the center of the octagon. Tears streamed down his face, falling onto the same canvas that had once been the site of his greatest tragedy. Commentators were screaming, losing their professional composure in the face of the impossible. Social media platforms melted down with a single, unified message of awe. Reporters scrambled for the right words, finally settling on the only phrase that fit: the greatest comeback in combat sports history. Later, with the UFC championship belt once again resting on his shoulder, a microphone was put in his face. His voice, thick with emotion, cut through the noise. He looked into the camera, at the millions who had witnessed his return from the abyss, and said, "They told me it was over. They said it was impossible." He took a breath, a small smile forming on his lips. "Good, I don't fight possible."